Hi, everybody, and welcome to the third episode of the AI Basecamp podcast. My name is Jonas Peterson, and I am joined today by a special guest, Rafał Fagas, CTO at MediaPress Group. He has decades of experience in the IT and AI sector and is the leader of a 100-plus people engineering team. Rafał, thanks so much for taking the time today and joining the podcast. Great to have you here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon.
Today, we want to, as always, follow the theme of this podcast, which is to educate our audience on how to leverage business value from AI for their concrete endeavors. But of course, Rafa, because we have you here, we are going to do it by trying to elicit as much from your wealth of experience as we can. And maybe to kick the whole thing off, very quickly about you as a person, and maybe you can single out one AI project that was close to your heart, of special interest in your time at the MediaPress Group.
Okay, so let me tell you more about me. My journey with MediaPress is really long. It started in 1993, so it's over 30 years now. And it started on one Thursday. I was then the teacher at the Technical University in Gliwice. And I got the call from the current president of MediaPress, from Krzysztof. And we kind of started the whole journey with only him and me, and this stuff, of course, evolved a lot for these 30 years, and from the two-person company, it became the European leader in a metadata market. The story with the AI, or maybe more with the computer vision, started in about 2014, as far as I remember, because we, as a metadata company, started to gather a lot of photos from the broadcasters, from our customers, and we started to build our next generation of our digital asset management system. And one of the issues that we have to resolve was to provide the good algorithm for calculating the similarity of the photos, because we were getting a lot of duplicates. And this is really the first thing that started our journey into computer vision, and then into AI-based computer vision. Because in 2014 it was there was really no AI as we know it today. There was a lot of very clever algorithms, but none of them was using the deep networks at this time. So of course we started with the so-called classical algorithms, and the real story with the computer vision AI started in 2016, when the very clever algorithm based on deep networks were introduced. It was called YOLO. It's with us up to this day. It was YOLO version 1. And this kind of started the we started to use it and started to go deeply into this area of computer vision based on AI algorithms. As far as the project that is close to my heart, I think the most significant project that we've done at this time, and which is kind of continuing right now, is a project that allows us to analyze the millions of photos that we got from our partners, from the broadcasters, from other sources, and add and base some very, very important business processes in MediaPress on this information. By this important media processes, I mean, first of all, the automatic and intelligent selection of the photos for the customers, and also the very intelligent way of cropping the photos to the proper ratio, to the proper size for the customers automatically. It's very important for us because we currently serve around 6-7 millions of photos to our customers per week. So this is the number of information that we are not able to handle with the humans in the loop. So this has to be completely automatic.
There needs to be some sort of automation, and you do, of course, need to heavily drawn computer vision.
Exactly.
So it is Rafał, obviously, the MediaPress use case, super impressive with the high amount of images that you need to process, and by now it's for the better part of a decade that computer vision has been deployed. One challenge that I assume you're also facing on at least a weekly, monthly basis is to decide which things to build next, which projects to go into further. So, and we obviously here want to stay on the AI side of things. You have loads of others on your plate as well. But for the next AI projects to choose, or when you have to make the decision whether to pursue an initiative or proposal that someone gave you further, how do you evaluate whether it's good to go, whether you want to step into it, whether you want to build that next thing, whether it's required, or whether there's something else that's possibly better of higher business value?
Yeah, I think you have to look at it from the other perspective, because I know this podcast is AI centered. So the question is obvious, but in reality, you should first know about the business value you would like to achieve, and then, if it is valid, use some AI technology. So it's not technology first; it's business first.
Yes.
It might sound paradoxical, but if you are able to avoid AI-based algorithm, do it. Use the classical algorithms if you can, and use AI-based algorithm if you must, or if it brings significant value to the project.
Are there examples because obviously the reason for saying this is you want to take the simplest solution that does the job, right? You don't want to over-engineer anything. Are there examples from your professional experience where the team started to implement a solution using something AI-based, only to then realize that this was over-engineered and could have been done simpler?
Thankfully not. We are making analysis first, but the reason why I said this sentence is that obviously everything that is AI based does not give you 100% confident answers. So there is always some percentage of uncertainty as far as the results of this solution is concerned, and this uncertainty has to be somehow taken care of. So because of course your customer demands you to have 100% good data, good product. So this gap between the customer, between the customer needs and what you are getting back from the model, has to be somehow mediated. And the companies use different approaches, of course. First, of course, the good way is to improve your model, to improve your data, improve your training, and so on. But you will never get to 100%. You can get to 99.99%, and you can get to the level that is maybe acceptable to your customers, or to the level that is equivalent to the level of the quality the humans would do. And this is a very good situation. But usually you are still coping with a number of results which are not well. and you have to somehow mitigate this. So you have to either introduce the humans in the loop to check the results from AI, which sometimes is not possible. This is the problem we have with the photos in MediaPress. There's no way such high number of photos will be checked by the human beings.
Simply would take too long. Yeah.
And it would cost too much, of course. But sometimes it makes sense. Yeah, this was the case of this last year text summarization project that we took. When we integrated the famous ChatGPT with our text database to provide us with a summarization of our media texts. But because texts are very sensitive, we had to introduce the editors in the loop, which are checking what the ChatGPT has produced.
Every single output that actually reaches a customer or a reader in the end had to be checked by a human in the loop. Now, when you say that, of course, the use of an AI model introduces uncertainty and a certain error rate. Not everything is going to be classified correctly or detected correctly or cropped correctly in the way that the specifications require. Then this, I feel like, quite nicely leads to the topic of training data. We all know better training data, both in terms of quantity and quality, lead to better results in the end. But often that's the challenge. And I assume also in the multitude of projects that you at MediaPress oversaw, how does one deal with it? How do you, first of all, assess the state of your data, whether it's sufficient for implementing a certain AI initiative? And how do you improve the situation?
Well, this is, of course, every data scientist will tell you that this is, of course, one of the major challenge in building your own AI-based solution to have the good training data. It's not always the question of quantity, because sometimes too much is also not very good. It's a question of very delicate definition of quality of this data. You have to have the data which kind of express the reality that the model will have to analyze later on. So it demands a lot of expertise, demands a lot of care afterwards, of course, and demands a lot of knowledge about the results that you want to achieve from the model. It somehow is equivalent to the business you would like to do with the model, because it has to reflect this reality that you would like to get at the end. And I think there's a number of techniques that you could use to make your to build your data sets, not manually, because of course the best way is to do it manually with people who are skilled to do it. And you can use existing models to help you. You can apply a number of approaches to somehow get these data set kind of automatically, but at the end some people will have to take a look at this and correct it, maybe perfect it. And this is, of course, not end of the story, because the reality changes, the new data arrives, and it may be that in a year or two your model will not be so well aligned. So you have to do the alignment of the model. You have to improve your data set even further, and so on. So it's a very, very complex topic. But at the end, having a good data set is worth it, because you will get the proper results at the end.
But yeah, what's definitely also important, not just to get it started and deployed, but to maintain it at the high level of quality is to continuously monitor the performance and make adjustments as you see drops or changing needs.
Of course, it's not it's needed when your model is analyzing the data domain which is changing. Yeah, but there are some applications of the AI which do not need so constant this constant quality checks on data model and on a data set, because they are describing the reality which is not changing. Like the face recognition, face detection, for example, is one of the examples. Yeah? You do not have to retrain face detection. The faces thankfully remain more or less the same with humans. So once well-trained model is with you to stay. But if you are classifying the data and the structure of the data you are classifying changes, you of course have to retrain the model once in a time.
Right. Now, maybe because you don't just, of course, you heavily are involved in the actual implementation stage as well. You, as you said, initially started MediaPress together with the now president and were deeply involved in coding the things yourself. But by now, you also have a very managerial role. You oversee large teams of not just building AI solutions, but all kinds of different software development projects. And maybe we can also from that angle discuss two topics that I think our audience might find interesting. Number one, how do you deal with stakeholder expectation management? So like you will have from different sides, you have to different viewpoints to consider. And then later on, I want to talk about roadmap prioritization also. But let's maybe start with the stakeholder one. How do you manage their expectations? What have you found to work well or not so well over the past decades?
If we are talking about an AI-based project, you have to be very careful with the expectations, of course, because in a sense, most of the AI-based projects are quite demands a lot of experimentation. You will probably not be able to answer at the beginning of the projects. It will succeed in a form that will be acceptable by the business. Of course, this is the risk you as a designer of the solution you have to mitigate somehow. So that's why I told that if you are able to limit the usage of the AI based elements in your project, you should do so. And of course, there are known metrics of the different models, so you can rely on the expected performance of the models you will use, especially in computer vision. In the area of large language models, it's not so easy, and this is still kind of difficult area for deployment. So first of all, you have to present
quality. Proving that quality is what you promised is tough. Metrics are not so readily available.
The metrics regarding text are much more fuzzy than the metrics regarding computer vision. This is very delicate matter. And also
just to give some context to the audience, if you, for example, have to say this is Tom Cruise or not, that's a quite easy case that you can measure. But if you have to say the synopsis shortened or the summarization task has been performed impeccably or not, that's a lot tougher, right? Or that's kind of
definitely, because it includes also the lot of knowledge, especially we're talking about a text about for example, the movie synopsis. Yeah, we are asking the artificial intelligence to make a summary out of it, but obviously the AI hasn't seen this movie, so it might happen that the AI will leave out the sentences, will leave out the information which is not very important for the summarization. Of course, it doesn't have a way to judge it. And it's very difficult also to measure it, because the only reasonable measurement that you would be able to make would be to give it to the humans and ask them if this is better summarization than this one.
You at least initially have to do that, but then obviously you can only collect so many data points. Yeah.
Yes, but the point is that there's no that you do not have a number. You don't have, okay, this solution will produce me 97% accurate summarization of the movie synopsis. You cannot just tell this.
Yeah.
Especially that if you are using the externally hosted large language models, which is more or less currently the most used way to use this way of intelligence. You cannot be sure that these answers will be consistent, because for example, OpenAI changes their models. They change the model. You do not know what will come out next time you ask it.
You hope it improves, but you only know it changes.
Yeah. There was an incident when suddenly the ChatGPT started to respond garbages, for example, and they probably just rolled it back.
Like, I get you. That remains a risk there. Just a quick intermezzo, to get your feeling on
returning to this.
Sure.
Returning to this stakeholder, because I haven't answered the question. You have to be very cautious about presenting the results to your stakeholders, and you have to inform them, of course, during the next stages of experimentation. Well, I think the good way is to start small, start from smaller projects, and maybe build some bigger projects on those smaller projects. So kind of use the
Can you make that concrete as a given example for where you followed that approach?
Okay, let's take this automatic cropping solution. Yeah?
Right.
At the beginning, we were just cropping photos in a naive way, so it will just take the fragment from the center of the photo and pray that it shouldn't contain any heads or any vital elements on the outside. But then we started from a simple solution just to detect faces, because we wanted to avoid situation when on the cropped photo the faces will be cut off. So this is one step. Yeah, it will be just detecting faces and making this crop much more intelligent. But of course, then you end up with some examples of some situations where it didn't work, because for example, system doesn't know which faces to crop out and which faces to leave in. So you are building the next step, and in each of the steps you are shrinking this number of the photos that are badly cropped. Yeah, so this is kind of iterative approach. It's much easier to handle and much easier to present also as a kind of next steps. And it is also, I suppose, easier to digest by the cost of it is easier to digest by stakeholders, because they can say no, you do not need to do it anymore on each step.
Yeah, or even you could recommend, obviously something you don't want to do, but you could recommend to completely stop this direction of development if you see that the first bits of the iteration are like very much disencouraging.
Because on each step you are left with some percentages of photos which are not cropped well, and then it is just a decision: shall we improve it even more,
or is it good enough?
Or is it good enough?
Yeah. No, I get you. Like, it's a great way of quickly getting feedback, keeping stakeholders in the loop, and keeping or maintaining or keeping costs in check in a way. One statement I read recently, and I was just wondering what your gut feel on it is, whether you confirm this or don't, is that it was provocative. It was kind of trying to get you to read on and read further. But it was a study by the Harvard Business Review, or at least they had cited this study, claiming that 80% of AI projects fail, or nearly 80% of AI projects fail. And failure here, I think, is defined as negative return on investment, with costing more than was saving afterwards. Does this feel right to you, or?
It might be, especially because we are living in a very big, in a period of a very big hype on AI. Yeah, so this is this approach I was mentioning at the beginning. Let's make something AI and let's
For the sake of it.
let's find out later what it would do.
Yeah.
So if you use the proper approach, so just treat the AI as a tool in your toolbox and use it accordingly, and not only to use AI or just slap an AI label somewhere, you have much better chances to win than 80%.
Yeah.
And of course, as I mentioned, if you start small, this is not a great project with millions of dollars of investment, but there is a number of steps that will maybe sum up to this millions of dollars. But you start bringing some business value on the road just at the beginning. I think it's much better for everybody.
Or if you are part of the 80% that are failing, at least fail it fast, right? And not have it cost so much.
And I suppose the second factor for so many projects failing is, of course, this inability to cope with this uncertainty of the response.
Yeah.
So this is something which will stay in the AI world. You somehow have to have an idea how to cope with it without introducing too much human work, because this is not why you are doing this. You are doing this to replace the need for a human work.
Yeah, enable them to do something else and increase business value.
Not just fire them.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that happens. Usually there's other stuff that can be found, or like different tasks that open up because you don't have those anymore. But yeah, of course, you need to increase business value. Otherwise, why would you do it? We are actually already starting to approach the 30-minute mark. We try to keep it to 30 minutes. But maybe to round it off, if you had to give, and we are now considering our audience who often are in a situation where they are considering how to leverage AI for business value creation, single most important piece of advice for making an AI project successful. We already heard you say, if you have a project or initiative or a problem to solve, try to do it without AI first. I think that's a very powerful one. But if you now have good reasons for it to be AI, what is then the single most important piece of advice if you had to try to push that into one bit?
The second one, from the technical point of technical point of view, is to use do not use the ready solutions which are available on the market, especially in the form of APIs. No, do not use it. If you plan to keep your project running for long, to be able to develop it further, to be able to make it, to add the value to your project, think of starting it as you have to have the full control of the project. If you are using API, and we used the approach at the beginning, we used the Google Vision API for detecting faces, for example, you are just left with what you got from the API. The API can change, the API can shut down. If you are planning to base a significant business value on the solution, you cannot build it on such a shaking ground. So I know it's more difficult. It costs more as well, but start building these networks in your own environment. You can, of course, host them on a network, or you host them in the cloud initially. But if you are using something which is ready in the form of API, so if you're just integrating with the external services, you cannot have an influence on this project. You'll lose influence on this project.
Well, I like the compelling closing thought. So be amongst the range of things discussed, be really sure that AI is the way to go. And especially if you plan to make something long-term bigger out of it, keep the control. Don't just use off the shelf. Take it in-house. You can customize it more, and the ground is solid. You have...
Yes, especially that even if you initially host your solution in the cloud, and if you succeed with it, there will be a time when your cloud bills will be too high to handle, but then you will have the opportunity to move it all into on-premise, into your server room, and live happily ever after.
Rafał, thanks so much. Maybe super quickly towards the end, if a listener wants to connect with you, how do they best reach you?
I think the LinkedIn is the preferred way.
I'm going to put it in the description.
Yeah,
so if someone wants to reach out after, Rafał is a great guy. You heard a lot of his thoughts. Obviously, many topics also we didn't get to cover in these 30 minutes, but let's try to keep it to that sweet duration. Rafał, pleasure. Thanks so
much. Thank you very much.
For coming on the podcast, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you very much. Same for you. Same for everybody. Bye-bye.
See you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for listening to AI Basecamp podcast. If you need help implementing AI solutions, go to K2AI and book a free consultation today.